not that hard.
We don't need to fight over everything. I just wanted to be
Or
loved.
maybe even
if we could just talk.
We don't need to
We just need to try. I think it's time we moved on.
Alright, how do I get there?
A regular flat white? Yeah, I'm sitting over there.
Right. Hi guys. So today's a little bit different. I'm at Timbaro Bakery. I just needed to get out and not be cooped up in my room. But today I thought I could just have like a little prelude before I start the rest of the video. Right now my finances are all kind of in a mess. Ever since I broke up, I haven't bothered looking at my finances. Like I just couldn't bring myself to. I guess I was wondering like why is sorting out your finances after a breakup so much more difficult than when you were together with someone. So I'm just gonna be here doing some work, finishing up all the client work that I have to do, and when I'm done with that, I'm gonna hit back and then really dig deep into finances with you guys. So hang tight, and that part of the video will probably start somewhere soon. Okay, finally, because it is really hot. So glad to be back. Well, let's get started with managing our finances together. Alright, but before we start, I am just going to take a quick shower first because Singapore is really hot. Be right back. Why is sorting out your finances so much more difficult when you're broken up? Like, I used to be that person who always had all the spreadsheets, or in my case, Notion databases. I got our future goals and kind of got everything planned out. But now I'm kind of stuck. Every single morning, I wake up and there it is on my to-do list. Fix your finances. And every day, I'm going to be like, today is the day I'm going to tackle it. So you see me literally hover my mouse over it, and I would right click and just shift it to tomorrow. This weird achy feeling kind of gets to me and I just close it right back up. It's almost like my body is completely rejecting the idea to look at my finances at all. And I don't like that feeling, so I decided to do a little bit of digging. Obviously, at 2 AM, I decided to ask the one person in the world that could understand me better than anyone else. I asked ChatGPT, what is wrong with me? But honestly, ChatGPT said a couple of things that makes perfect sense. Let me show you what it said. It told me that money in relationships isn't really about money at all. It's about all those shared dreams and plans you made together. And when you break up, you're not just switching out numbers, you're having to let go of this entire future you thought you were building. And I kind of vibe with that. I don't want to look at my finances because I would have to look at our housing fund, our honeymoon fund, our wedding fund, and all the things that I've already kind of threw to the back of my head. And I would actually have to think about where to strategically move all this money, which means I needed to be comfortable enough to resurface all those memories and deal with it. And honestly, I don't like that feeling. The thing is, breakups are exhausting. Like emotionally, I'm already running close to empty. I need to think clearly and make smart decisions. But how can I trust myself to make good decisions if I'm not ready to embrace all those past memories and emotions and deal with them as they are? So part of my brain, the smart part I guess, has been protecting me by just not letting me do it at all. Which makes sense, but I can't avoid this forever. And honestly, I'm kind of tired feeling stuck in this limbo. I shouldn't let someone who's no longer a part of my life affect my finances this way. So here's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna go head first. I'm gonna replan my entire financial projections for 2025. And I'm gonna be bringing you guys along because let's be real, if I'm doing it with you guys, I can't bail out. I'm committed to it. So for better or for worse, you guys are now my accountability buddies. Alright, hi friends. So Aaron from another time and I'm back at my desk, and I want to run through with you guys my financial projections for 2025 because I always believe that we should start from like big picture and then move down to small picture. We'll basically be covering my income followed by my expenses and then how I'm going to split up my savings. So let's start off on the top left over here. So we have our monthly, yearly and summary. Basically, I can see my income, my total expenses and my saving. And then the dashboard is just to dive in a little bit deeper. You can see how much my income is going to be a year, my monthly income, and of course what year it is. And you can see my yearly expenses. divide it into variable, fixed, and sinking funds. So these are the three ways we divide our expense. The way we approach savings is income minus expense. So once we take our income minus our expenses, we get our yearly amount, and that's generally how we calculate things. And with that, let's start with our income projection. So my projected income for this year is going to be 114,000, which is about 9,500. So income projection is very important for people like us who are self-employed, because we need to know that we're not spending above our means, and the only way we know that is by projecting our income. This is our income, and after all expenses, our agency would bring us about 36,000. After that, we have social media, which is kind of like our sponsorships and affiliates, and then after that, we have collab, where it's supposed to be us featured on their channels, and for that, we are getting about 18,000. Then that nets me about $114,000, which is about $9,500 every single month, and so that's how we get our income. Now let's look at the expense and budgeting side. Okay, so these numbers, they're all formulas, and you get these formulas based on the input over here. And so when it comes to expenses, there is variable, fixed, and sinking funds. So looking at sinking funds, our big ticket expenses, right? So things that I already know that I'll be paying this year. So that will be insurance, which I'll be budgeting like $1,300 for that. Taxes, which will be an estimated of $3,000 based on my income, and then things that I've already went for and I plan to go. For example, I went to EDC Thailand. I spent about 1,800 going to Japan to hike, and I've budgeted about $3,000 for that. And I basically have like a spontaneous escape budget, which is like a small budget that is set aside where if I'm just not feeling it, I can just take money from that budget and fly off. Like maybe I want to go to Bali for a couple of weeks. That $1,000, I could take like maybe $700 from that and fly there over for the weekend. And then I guess this is where rough part kind of starts, which is the wedding. $18,000, which was budgeted and set aside. And I guess now, looking at this, I know that this isn't going to be here anymore. And as you can see, once the wedding changes, the assigned area changes as well, and I'll share with you guys what that is later on. Yeah, and then I have a buffer of $6,000. For example, maybe my phone breaks and it's not budgeted in. That just gives me enough space to play around with this $6,000 so that I won't dip and mess up my savings. So the wedding's gone, and I think I can increase my buffer to $10,000. And I'm also going to increase my spontaneous escapes to $3,000, because now that I'm single again, I plan to travel around a bit more and just experience the world. Now, the personal growth fund will be things that I set aside for me to buy courses or travel to places to learn things. Basically, it has to help me grow. For example, if I'm traveling to the US to meet other content creators, then this is where like that fund would come from. Alright, and then now we can move over to our fixed and monthly variables. So I think it kind of all stays the same. So we have our subscription, $120 a month right now. I don't give my parents an allowance because they still don't need it, but it's here in the future because I know that one day I will be doing it for them. No mortgage, no car loan. I have to pay an employee about $500 a month. Gym membership with Virgin Active. And when it comes to variables, I used to spend about $800 going out. I honestly feel like I'm not too fancy a guy, especially when I'm eating out alone, so I could probably drop this down to $500 a month. My shopping would probably drop as well. I won't be buying things for someone anymore. So the reason why I have a pet here is because I'm trying to manifest it that in the future I'm gonna get a dog or a cat. I really want a dog and or a cat, so like that's just me like manifesting it right now. And now let's move over to the savings portion. Okay, so this is the cool part, right? And so this is basically income minus expense, pretty straightforward. But the cool part is this unassigned part over here, or the assigned part. So let's take a look at how the savings are being done. Take a look at this. If I'm going to put $500 a month into investment, you can see how the assigned value just went down because I have assigned money to savings. So if I were to put this like 5,000, for example, then I have a negative 45,000 because I've assigned more than I have. And so if I assign a certain amount of money into it, I know whether or not I'm utilizing my savings to its maximum. After getting rid of the wedding, I can see that I actually have $13,000 that I have not assigned. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be rejigging my savings because I used to have a housing fund where me and my partner wanted to buy a house together. So I was putting more and more money into the housing fund. But that, at this stage, it's probably going to go zero at the moment. I would always keep some money with the company, probably increase my company fund and basically things to invest in the company like gear, equipment, and all that. And then my investments are going to go up. I'm going to put about $2,500 back into investments. Talking about the emergency fund in the previous video, I know that I need to increase this a lot more. So instead of 150, now that I'm single, I do need to cover my own base. I can't rely on someone else actually being there to support me. So I gotta support myself. So I'm gonna put in about $850 every single month to build up my emergency fund, which means in this year I would save up like 10,000. It's probably still not enough, but it will take time for me to build that up. And I want to create a dividend fund. Let's give it a nice icon like a tree, and I think I can put in about $1,000. Oops, I guess I'm a little bit short on money there. So $950,000 every single month into my dividend fund. As of right now, I haven't been trading too much, so it will probably take time for me to relearn how to do day trading, and I'm not sure if I'm going to move back into that. Most of my swing trades are going to be tapped out from my investment funds, but I want to get a dividend portfolio. I already kind of do, but I want to grow it even further, where I am taking money and growing my dividend portfolio so that when I'm much older in the future, I would have a dividend fund that I can just tap into. I won't be touching it, and I don't expect ridiculous growth. And if you're interested to find out how my dividend fund will look like, follow along. I will probably talk about that in one of the videos in the future. Alright, and so with that, I can see that my undersigned is negative $6, so it kind of evens out. I've assigned almost 100% of all of my savings. And so this is going to be the basis moving forward. Really take a deeper look at my dividend fund, my investments, and just why some of the content that we create, as we're primarily on TikTok, hasn't been too much about trading, because we do what we share and we share what we do. And as I have not been trading very actively, the trading content has rolled back a little bit. All my investments generally are still intact, so we still talk a little bit about that. But over the next few weeks, I'm going to be diving a little bit deeper and digging into that, and then I'll be able to share it with you guys as well. So I grew as a content creator mainly on TikTok and Instagram, and I am trying to break into the YouTube space. And the reason for that is I feel like I'm able to bring you guys into my life a lot better if I am on YouTube. So the format for the YouTube videos will probably revolve somewhere like this, where it's a bit more personal. You can get a deeper dive into my life, and also our little like talk shows with me and my sister as well. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one as well. Cheers.